Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Chair Powell. Good to see you again. You had talked a little bit about your review. I'm going to start there. Obviously, a lot has changed in the last 5 years. Pandemic, inflation, higher interest rates, name a few. However, I believe your dual mandate of maximum employment and stable prices should remain the ultimate objective. I assume you agree with that. I let the record reflect slight head nod on that, I guess. This committee is going to be very focused on monetary policy, and with my good friend from Oklahoma, Mr. Lucas, chairing a task force that I'm happy to be a part of. We're going to be addressing some of those issues. Chair Hill touched on some of the rules that have been discussed. I, for one, have always been particular to Taylor rule, but there's a number of rules. I know you go through those. At one point, I suggested that we could call it the Yellen rule with Chair Yellen, but there needed to be some sort of public declaration of what to benchmark against, and I still feel that that is of some importance. You outlined your timeline on this particular review, but I'm curious, do you believe that the last policy framework limited the Fed's response to raising inflation, something that you and I have talked about over the years?
No. I'll tell you why we didn't raise rates. We thought the inflation was transitory. I can show you forecasts from the end of 2021 by us, by staff, by the blue chip. Everybody thought it was going to be transitory. That's why we didn't raise rates.
And I also distinctly remember a hearing where you and Secretary Yellen at the time were sitting next to each other, and it looked like you visibly scooted away when I asked you both whether it was still transitory, and you had, for the first time ever, a separate answer. Her answer was yes, it still was transitory. You gave a very Fed speak answer of, we no longer believe the data shows that, so no. And to kind of go to Chair Hill's point, we think that might have been a little late on that. On back to the review, I'm curious, what sort of input are you looking for from the public and from Congress as you go into that review?
So from the public, we'll do a series of Fed Listens events, which were very successful the last time. And it involves us sitting down and meeting with people, some of whom know a lot about what the Fed does, some of whom just tell you what's going on in their communities. It was really, it was a very successful part of our outreach last time. In terms of Congress, you know, we'll keep you informed of our progress. We welcome anything you may offer. But you know, it's a public. We're open to the public on this. It's a public review, as distinct from what we were doing before, and so we're welcoming views from all over.
And not to get ahead of the chairman, but I look forward to us having more conversations about that with the working group. I want to switch topics and focus a bit back to the bank supervision. Michael Barr has stepped down from his position as vice chair for supervision, effective at the end of the month. And whether, frankly, President Trump fills that position is entirely up to him. But in the absence of a vice chair for supervision, you're still working, I think, on it. I think your quote to the chairman was, "There's no time for a holiday." Now, this vice chair of supervision is a Fed governor that has, frankly, extraordinary powers and responsibilities. And ultimately, my question to you is, does the Fed really need a separate vice chair to complete its work? Now, I got here in after the 2010 election, 2011, shortly after Dodd-Frank was passed. I know this vice chair position was created by Dodd-Frank. I've just been dealing with the echo effects now for the last going on 15 years of Dodd-Frank. Do we really need to have a separate vice chair of supervision?
So for many years, as you know, we did our business without a vice chair for supervision. What that means is everything goes through the full board.
And it was effective?
I think it was, and also there was less volatility.
Explain that. Why was there less volatility?
Well, because you've got a group of 7 people on the board, and there will be some as appointments change. There'll be some changes in the approach to regulation, but putting it all in a single person, admittedly just to recommend to the board, can lead to sort of some volatility in these things, which is really
larger swings in policy.
Larger swings in the kind of things, and that's not great for the institutions that we want to regulate. We want to have a good set of regulation that doesn't swing back and forth very much. The question of whether it's a good thing to have in the law is really one for you. But I will tell you, we will once Vice Chair Barr completes his term in a few weeks, we will continue on until there's a new Vice Chair for Supervision, and we can very much get our work done.
Or if there is one. So with that, Mr. Chairman, my time has expired.
I thank the Vice Chair.